Y'all wanted the how-to, so here it is. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here. And we are going to turn this plain wooden box from the Wal Mart into a beautiful storage container for my sealing waxes. Okay? So I started sanding on it with my little sanding block, and then I'm like, oh, I need to take the hardware off. Okay, so we get around to doing that. Now, let me tell you, this is the first time I did a tool organizational insert thingy in the box lid. Okay, so it's not necessarily perfecto, but it's perfecto enough. So here I am using fluid matte medium to seal the wooden box. Okay, because you always want to seal wood. Just saying. Well, technically, theoretically, sealer is less expensive than paint, because if you don't seal it, it will absorb lots and lots of paint. Not that I'm painting the whole thing. We do paint the bottom. Somebody didn't film that part. I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't. Okay? They used a really pretty primary red Americana craft paint. All right. Now, I also sealed the inside of the box, just saying. So I'm haphazardly stamping with a script stamp and archival black ink. Okay. Now, because I do have the sealer on there, hickin' y'all, because I want to make sure my little stamping stuff is dry. Now, it's not real prevalent, and theoretically, between you and me, I did forget to stamp the sides of the box that I also collaged napkin on, but we're not going to talk about that because I think it looks really good without the stamping on it. It makes the lid a little more special. Now, yes, when you open it, the poppies, the pretty napkin collage is upside down. But we don't be looking at our storage box from that angle, okay? Because all the good stuff is on the inside of the box, right? So here I'm tearing the napkin pieces. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you water cutting the napkin. That's my template map that we will get to in a little bit. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I was marking for the back of the lid, and I end up doing that on the bottom of the wooden box as well, because I'm like, well, what is the front and what is it can make a difference when you're putting the hardware back on. And trust me, you will put the hardware back on unless you don't want to, in which case I guess you don't have to. So we're preparing our napkins. We've peeled our layers. You definitely want to peel the layers. Oh, there's information in the description box below the video. Click on the ... more to see more information, including a link to the previous video, which some of y'all have probably already seen, and now you're interested in the how-to. Anyway, a link to that. And the box size is 11 3/4, roughly. Not quite, but close enough. By 7 3/4, with a depth of 4 3/4. There's a lot of 3/4 going on here, and that is in American inches, y'all. Okay. So we've pretty much got an idea of where we want to lay our napkin pieces. This is the lid of the box, or suitcase, because it's kind of a suitcase, but we don't put suits in it. We're putting sealing wax in it, okay? So here's one of those handy dandy brushes that my secret internet admirer gifted to me. Thank you. They're pretty cool, y'all. I don't know what kind of brush fibers those are on there, but they're interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. It's a little different to use than one with a round handle like we normally do. So, but I think I like them. I've been using them a while, so I don't know why. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out because I thought I'd point it out, evidently. So we like I said, we did seal the whole box. So this is actually getting a second coat of the fluid matte medium on top. Now the good part is when you seal your surfaces, even paper, you can typically, if you make a little bobo, depending on what you make it with, you can wipe it off, sort of mostly. And when you're collaging napkins, you want to be careful and don't over brush, and you don't want to push down on the brush too hard. You do need a medium soft brush so that you're not gouging into the napkins, because once they get wet, they really delicate, y'all. Just saying. Okay, it does take practice, though. It will take some practice if you don't normally collage with napkins, just saying, because they're delicate. So as you can see, I've got my background pretty juicy, not totally juicy, but you know, it's nice and wet. And I lay the napkin on there and I kind of pat it down. You will have wrinkles when you work with napkin. It's just the nature of the game, okay? And that's kind of part of the beauty of it, in my personal opinion. Now, there are collage papers, nice thin collage papers out there too. But I had napkin and I wanted to use napkin. And these are cocktail size, and I think I used 4, maybe 5, okay? So, this is how I'm finishing off the edge where the paper napkins hung over, because I did not wrap it around on my lid. Okay, that's an emery board nail file, and I'm just filing it in one direction. It may look like I'm going back and forth, or you know, up and down, but I'm not. I'm going down, and then this is where I'm going on it sideways to sand off just a little bit of the matte medium that went over the edge and left it kind of roughish. I didn't like that, so I piled it off with the nail file. So maybe you can see on this side how I'm going just down, 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 and down. Okay, and I will do that for the whole box because I do collage the napkin on the side of the bottom box. Okay, now sitting here doing this voiceover, I don't remember if I cut that part out of the video because this is sped up for your viewing pleasure and my voiceover ease. So now we're going to put some gloss varnish on the top. Okay, and I got a little much on there, so I went ahead and wiped it over the sides because it's not going to hurt anything, y'all. I'm not going to do anything else to the sides. Oh, did I tell you I painted the bottom? Well, I did, because I didn't film that part. I forgot. I missed that. You know, it happens. It's normal for me. So anyway, it was just painted back and forth, 2 coats. I used 2 coats. Even though it was sealed, it just was a little too streaky for me. Anyway, so we did that. And we're brushing over this. I like it. I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. Now, when you do have sort of a wrinkly, textury type surface, you do want to go up and down and back and forth on account of you want to make sure you get your varnish in all your areas. All right. So here I'm marking the box for the front and the back and front, whatever, just the back. And I noticed I got some red paint there, and I'm like, well, I don't know if it's going to be that noticeable. So I sanded it a little bit, and that's okay. If you really want a really soft, I know soft wood doesn't kind of go together. Anyway, you put your sealer on there, and then you sand your wood again, and you put another coat of sealer. And the more you do that, the more softer. Y'all, that is so not good English. The softer the wood will feel when you touch it with your hand. Or maybe that should be smooth. Whatever. So here we are, we're using a water brush to water cut the napkins, which I really like. Now, tearing it is pretty good too, but this leaves a fluffier, fuzzier edge, which means, in my opinion, that it kind of melts into the background somewhat better. Now I am water cutting various sizes because, as you can tell, the printed napkin is that's just how it is. Every little square is exactly the same. And when you put these onto surfaces, sometimes it looks just like you just glued the same thing over and over. So to combat some of that, I've water cut them so that they're somewhat different and can be layered-ish. Now this one I am wrapping around the side. I did not do that on the lid, but I'm wrapping because it's the side of the front of the box or whatever piece it is, and wrapping it around the edges because I'm wrapping around the whole bottom part of the box, not the bottom of the box, the sides of the box. Excuse me, terminologies and I are not always friends, especially with the brain fog. So any hoodles, there we go. Hickin', I'm sure, because you don't necessarily want to go over a previously somewhat tacky area. That's when you could get into some tearing. So here I am going around all my edges pretty much like you would a piece of paper, and I'm using the black soot ink, and the foam dauber doolally is pretty well wearing out, so little pieces of foam will fall off here and there, which is I find very aggravating, but nonetheless, there we go. So I do all that, and then I will go over it also with brown. Oh, that's what I've got. I got brown in my hand right now. Black and brown. So went around it with the black, and now we're going around it with the brown, and it just, that double inking like that just really makes it sing. Oh, sort of like an angel, but I'm not an angel. I'm not a devil either, but I'm not an angel. So there we go. I'm just human. Look, it's so pretty. Look at the bottom, y'all. I'm so happy with that. So we want to varnish it. You want to keep your pretty stuff pretty. So we're putting some varnish on there. And back and forth. Do you typically, if you're going to paint wood, I'm not necessarily a big wood painter, but if you're going to paint wood, you want to go in the direction of the grain. It just seems to look better, in my opinion. Okay, opinions. You know what they are. You know what they're like. Just saying. So there we are, varnishing, because it was important that you see this again. Okay. So I'm still fighting with those little foam bits off the ink. It's like, oh, really? Just got to stick on there. So, continuously varnish. It was so important. I thought it was so important that y'all see this. So we show you a lot of it. We could have made the video shorter, but no. Do I say that every video? Probably. Anyway, the quick little how-to, show and tell, more or less. More show and tell you how I did it. Video will be linked below, and hopefully I will remember and put it in the upper right-hand corner. Also, this is just plain copy paper that I cut down to the same size as the inside of my lid. And I'm laying out the stuff I want to put on it. Now, I'd never done this before, so I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just guessing my way through it because I didn't go watch anybody's videos that I probably should have. Just saying. I am sure there's how-to videos on that, but I didn't go watch them. So I'm trying to center up my circles because this is where I'm going to put the the stamp part, you know, that you put into, what, seal, the seal that you put into your melted wax before it rehardens so that you get that pretty little image thing. You know, everybody's got it. So anyway, I was tired of gathering my different boxes together. That's why we're doing this. Storage. Sealing wax storage. Sealing, not a roof ceiling inside your house. Oh, the velvet, y'all. I got this red velvet. Oh, I encourage you, if you're going to buy stuff, expensive fabric stuff, get it when it's half price. Okay? Just throwing that out there. So, anyway. That's how I got mine. Half price. That's where that whole thought was leading to. Just saying. Just using a little piece. It says bigger than the inside of my lid. And I trimmed my chipboard down because I thought when I wrapped my velvet around it would be thicker than it was. So it's actually kind of just a hair small, but you don't notice. You won't even notice, and you wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't have told you. But now I told you, so the cat's out of the bag. There is no cat, there is no bag, it's a box. It's a box with a fancy thing inside the lid to hold tools and sealing wax paraphernalia. I'm going to use some Yes paste. Oh, there is a list of ingredients in the description below the video. I would call it a box, but it's not a box anymore. It's just a description. Click on ... more to see more information. Or if you're watching on a mobile device, I think if you scroll all the way down, it shows you the description. I don't remember. I don't watch on my mobile device, my cellular phone, my camera phone. I don't watch on there real often, just sometimes. Anyway, Yes paste, gooey, nice, works well with fabric. Just my opinion. This video's full of a lot of my opinions, isn't it? It's true. He got no, he got this. I was just teasing you. It's just an old plastic gift card, hotel key card, old credit card kind of thing. I guess some hotels are not even going to, or not using them quite as much as they used to anyway. So there's our chipboard. Okay. Here's our velvet. And keep your area clean when you're working with fancy fabrics, y'all. And your fingers. Okay. Just throwing that out there. Look at that. It's velvet. Soft and squishy like velvet. Like velvet? It is velvet. Bless my heart, y'all. So I decided to trim off the little salvage edge. Sleevage if you want to pronounce it that way, but don't pronounce it that way because it's salvage. It's where all the fibers get tied up together so that they don't totally unravel unless you cut them, and then you're going to have unraveling. And I guess I could have pinked the edges because I got some pink and sheer somewhere, but I didn't even think about it till just this very instant. So we're putting a little of our Yes paste there on the edge so we can roll our little velvet edge up. And we're going to do it. I tend to do whichever sides I start with, either the long side or the short side. In this case, I started with the short side. And this is where I saw that my little corner wasn't quite trimmed enough. So just trimmed it just a wee bit more. Okay. And this is not a heavy velvet. It is thinnish. Actually, I was almost surprised because I'm like, well, which was weird because I got a little piece missing off the one corner, and I don't know if I've already used this fabric on something else. I don't remember or what, but yeah, it wasn't much, just a little. So now I decided that the chipboard's maybe not heavy enough, so I have a little piece that I had trimmed off because it was like a big 14 by 14. I don't remember, y'all, what size it was. Kind of big. It's faux chipboard. It's not cereal box. It's off the back of some paper thing. Okay? Anyway. So we'll put our yes paste on there, and we're going to glue that onto the back side of our velvet piece so that we can have just a wee bit stronger chipboard stuff. And I took that off because I don't want to risk missing some of that yes paste and getting it all over my poor velvet. So all this poking and stuff that I ended up doing made my elbow sore for a couple days. Anywho, this is my pattern-ish. Because I want certain things on certain sides, and I'm trying like, well, I know I should have, put it upside down, drawn on the other side, whatever. It's a general basic guideline. Okay? So I cut out my little spoon shape, my wax melting spoon, my pins. I have a couple of pins, and there is room in the box for other things should I get other things. I don't know. So we're going to tape that down because we're going to poke some holes because we're going to use a round elastic cord to sew the little loops onto our card. I don't know what this thing is called. I'm sure that it has an official name, but I don't know what it is. But I'm sure someone will tell us if they know, or they know even how to look it at on Google. Anyway, poking holes with a poke tool. I put a piece of foam behind there so I don't poke holes in my desk because it's a nice wooden desktop. Anyway, you would never know because y'all might have seen it once or twice. Anyway. Yep, checking to make sure it went all the way through. So I have two pins. One is gold and the other one is silver, but in reality it's more like gray. And I think you could also use, I'm not going to say magic marker because that dates me from the 1900s, y'all. But you could use a permanent marker to color your wax seals, when you put your seal on there. It's not always totally visible like you might want it to be, and you can seal it. So here I am putting like buttonholes on there when in reality I should have just looped sideways. But that's okay. And my first time. Maybe if I ever do it again, I'll remember. So here we have our cording, and it's elastic, and it was kind of hard to thread, so because you got to use a big-eyed needle, y'all. And I piddle around with it, trying to decide what it is, which way I want to go, and how I want to do it. And then you got that whole issue: how you going to tie it so that it doesn't pull all this one, pull that, and that one pull that, and I end up doing loop-de-loop-de Nazis on the back. Okay, so we're gonna sew. I decided I needed holes over here, so we do it some more. Hopefully I show you the loop-de-loop-de. Now I can't tell you how to actually do this part because I was faking it, y'all. I was faking my way through it, and it worked out. I got lucky. It worked out. Okay. So here I think I'm going to tie a knot. I'm like, does that fit through there? Because I fit each little thing through there, each little loop on the front side, so that when I tied it on the back side, I had enough room to move it in and out without losing my loop and without being too tight. Okay? Was I successful every time? I don't know. Works enough for me. So that's what we're doing. I sure hope I show you the loop-de-loop on the back. Here we go, loop-de-loop. So I like looped it through there and sort of tie it, and I have it kind of medium tight so that it doesn't fall out, but it's tight enough to hold it. And I do that for the whole thing. Okay. Oh, we're going to show you more. So There's the little spoons that you melt your wax in. Typically, okay, you're going to use 3 of the little round wax doolallers if you have those like that. Is typically enough for the average size seal. Okay. That's what signet rings started out as. They were wax seals, and you know, the king and the pope and whoever boss would seal their envelope or their letters closed. And at that time, the wax seals, if they were broken, meant somebody's already been reading your business, and you don't necessarily want that. So that's the tools that the seal screws onto, okay? Because you can get millions and millions of different ones. Right now I'm looking for a dragonfly seal, okay? Because I really want one. I saw somebody had one, but they didn't say where they got it from, so anywhos. And we just do this forever. Now you see why my elbow was so sore. All them poking all them holes. And then this one I piddled with and piddled with. And I'm like, okay. Well, I ended up just making a single loop across when it probably would have been better up and down. Anyway. Got it done. I'm like, oh, how's this going to work? Well, I guess it'll have to go that way, and I piddled, farted around with it, and finally figured it out enough for me. And I end up running out of cord, so I have to rethread, and I don't show you the whole thing because this is me stopped thinking, well, okay. Because I want to tie off between each one so that it doesn't get bigger and bigger as it goes along, or tinier and tinier as it goes along. I was pretty successful. So we're going to use this heavy duty Velcro that my husband picked up somewhere on sale on clearance or something, because he's a good shopper too. And I'm going to put one on the top and one on the bottom of it, and then we're going to do, I cut 2 for the sides, and then I cut a third one to go sort of middle-ish. Or did I do 4 of them? Anyway, we'll see. We'll get there. So I'm cutting it apart, and I'm putting the rough side on the back of my tool organizer insert thingy. I am using my scissor handle to burnish it down. You don't want to rub it with your finger because it's pretty heavy. And here I was burnishing that down, and I didn't need to, but anyway. So at one point I end up pulling up a piece of the side Velcro because it's sticky, y'all. This is really sticky. It supposedly goes 5 pounds. I bet it could. Anyway, as long as it doesn't pull off of your surface, you know. Just saying. So, burnishing. I had originally thought about magnets, and I thought, no, magnets might not hold very well, and I didn't want to put it permanently in the lid. Why? I don't know. Maybe I'll repurpose this box at some point. Probably not, but it could happen. The option is there. So, there we go. Scissor handle, burnishing it all down. And here's our lid. I want to make sure I get it in there the way I want it, the way I think I want it. See, there's my little loops, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So now we got to pull all the release off the back, and this is where I pull up and mess up the one side one. So I ended up putting some glue on there, and now everything is sticking to it, and I'm like, oh, I got 4 on there. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4. So just drop it in there. Now, you can't tell it's actually a little small, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm going to burnish it all down. I'm going to use a bone folder, not a real bone. And here again, I'm overusing my elbow muscle. Your elbow doesn't have a muscle in it, but it sure makes that joint hurt. Mine does anyway. Anyway, burnishing all my little Velcros. Can't see, can't feel it. I'm just burnishing it everywhere. Burnishing, burnishing. Now we're putting our little hardware back on because we removed it all. I didn't show you me removing it, but I did. You saw it because I sanded, sealed, varnished, all that. And I hammered it back on there. I've got some pliers, flat needle nose flat. I don't know what they're called. Jewelry tools, yeah. And we had to rebend some of our little corner pieces, and we're using those nail heads. I lost one of them, can't find it. Hopefully won't need to actually repair that. Anyway, it's on the floor out there somewhere. I'll step on it one day, probably be like a tack. Ow! So, using my little hammer. And then at some point we've got screws that hold the back hinge and the handle and the little locking mechanism thingies, okay? All these little corner ones get nailed on with little teeny tiny nail tack things. It's hard to hold everything all together and all that. And I guess I didn't have to show you all of them. Oh, I don't show you all of them. Just feels like all of them. So now we're screwing in. Set the hinge. I think I put the hinge on first. Now remember, our lid already has our tool thing in it, which I can remove because it is Velcroed, but you don't want to remove that too soon. You want to make sure your sticky back sticks really well. Okay? Okay. Which is another reason for sealing your wood, because otherwise it might rip your wood around. Anyway, oh, we're going to show it off. Look at it. Y'all, it's so fancy. It's so pretty. I'm so happy with it. I would recommend looking at a video, somebody else's video, for how to make the little tool loader thing on my lid. I don't even know what those things are called, y'all. I'm just calling it lid insert that holds my tools. I forgot to make one for the lighter, the fire stick, but you know, those do eventually go quit working, and you got to get a new one different. Ta-da! Get ready, gonna do some more ta-das. Ta-da! Photo montage. Now, because this is kind of a bigger piece, it wasn't that easy to photograph outside where I like the photos. I like to do my photos outside because it just looks so cool. Y'all, look. It's so pretty. My husband was like, "Did you paint this metal box?" And I'm like, "It's not a metal box. It's wooden. It's a wooden box. The bottom is so pretty, but you're really never going to see it." So there we go. Things are a little crooked, but that's okay. It's perfect. Ta-da, look at that. And those things stay in place unless I slam the lid, just saying, because, you know, now it will tump around. And I do have my little votive candles down there because I got them at a secondhand store for $1 for like, I don't know, 24 of them or something ridiculous. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Happy arting, y'all.